Yeah. So as I told, the timing, telling time, that is what we are going to see. So before jumping into that whole thing, uh, let us just get back to the verb ser again. Okay. I'm not going to tell you all the things about ser, but the key word which we have seen there, okay, I told you there only that T was for time, and I just gave you one or two examples. I told you that more we are going to see more in the later part. So that is what we are going to do today. I'm going to do today. So when we are going to talk about time, okay, in Spanish, we are obviously going to use the servo. There is no use, or there will not be any use of estar. Okay. The other thing which I will tell you today, there will be three stages of telling time. Like my explanation will go into each stage. First will be when your like time is only with hours. I mean 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, like that. The second stage will be with hours and minutes. Okay, I mean 110, 120, 220, 330, 445, like that. Okay, and then the third stage will be with AM and PM. Okay, so like 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m., 2 p.m. How do you express all these in Spanish? So one by one, we will go into different stages. Okay, so the first stage is this one. Okay, so let's see. So the very basic question, which is very much required by like all of you to know, is that when you want to know time from someone, okay, then what is the question you ask in English? You have the expression like what time it is, what is the time. Okay. In Spanish, that same expression can be asked by this que hora es. Okay, que hora es. So here one thing which will come to your mind, that why are we using hora? Okay, so that is what happens in Spanish actually. We say in English we say what time it is or what is the time. In Spanish they generally refer to the hour, so they say what hour it is. But the message is same. Okay, so you don't have to get much deeper or do any kind of postmortem into this. Okay, the way you say in English is different. The way you say in Spanish is different. But do not literally translate that hora means time. No, it is not like that. Hora means hour. Okay. So you can ask this question what time it is or what is the time by using this expression que hora es. The same expression can be made plural also. And that can be asked like this que horas son. So how does it become plural? The hour has become plural. That is why the verb conjugation of the verb ser has also become plural. So earlier it was s, now it is so. Okay. So this is how it is happening. You can and so you can use either of these two expressions to ask the question. Now let us come to the answer. So we will move from basic and then little bit higher we will go. So the first one which we can see here, it is 1 o'clock. So for example, somebody asks you a question, A or IS, and you have to say it is 1 o'clock. So how will you say that? Huh? So this particular time which is shown to your screen is not having any minutes in it. So we will first do that type of time where there is no minute in it. So you reply the question by starting with S and then la and then la. Okay. So what does S here refer to? As I told earlier also, when you are using verbs like ser without any subject before it in the third person form, actually the subject is it there. It is hidden. So you have to yourself consider that, and it is obviously going to come for the S part. Okay, so you automatically consider that the The subject is there. It is it. So es la una, s will be here. It is. Okay, it will refer to it is. Then the article la will come, and then the number una is going. So there is a reason for all of this. Let us see that. So the third person singular of ser is used with 1 o'clock since it is just 1 hour. So we are using s only. Why? Because the number of hours is 1. Okay. Second is, and this is compulsory, that the singular definite article is used for same reason. So the use of this article la, it is very much necessary. Without putting la, you just, if you say es una, it will be incorrect. Okay, you have to use la, and this is something you cannot avoid. Then the third one is here used as una. So all hours of the day are feminine in Spanish. That is why we are using here una. So let me explain a little bit more here. For digit 1, I told you it is una. Okay. But if you are referring or with this 1 to any particular noun, okay, so that noun will always have a masculine gender or a feminine gender. Okay. So if that noun is 1, okay, there is only one noun. If, like for example, let's say a book, okay, one book if I'm telling you. So there what happens that for 1, you should not be using uno in that case. Why? Because the word book is actually a masculine noun. So it is better to use the masculine indefinite article, which is un, or if it is a feminine noun, you should use un. So you should not be using uno libro. It is better to use un libro. Okay. Similarly, if it is like one house, if you are referring to, so casa is house. So again, instead of using uno, okay, you should be using una casa. So this type of thing where you are using uno or una, okay, happens only with this digit 1. Okay, it does not happen with 2, 3, okay, or 4, or whatever numbers are there. Okay, it does not happen. Okay, so don't make those as dosa, okay, or doso. No, it does not happen. It is just those after that. Only with 1 we are using un or una. So here we are using una. Why? Because una is basically referring to the hour. The hour is hora, which is a feminine noun, so you should use una. Okay, so don't ever use es la uno or es la un. Okay, that is okay. The other example here we can see now is the time is 2 o'clock. So if you want to say, if you are asked the question, ¿Qué hora es? And you want to say it is 2 o'clock, now things are going to change a little bit. What is going to happen is the number of hours has become 2. So you cannot use S. We'll be using now will be soon. Okay. So the article which is after that, that also will become plural. And the for hour, as we all know, number 2 is there. So we have the word those that should be used. Okay, the explanation is given here. The third person plural of ser is used with all the hours after 1 o'clock. So that structure of es la una, which we saw in the last slide, is only used when it is 1 o'clock, or if it is 1 o'clock plus some minutes are there. But after that, with all the other duration, you just use son las dos, son las tres, son las cuatro, son las cinco, son las seis, like that you will continue. Article, as I told, will have to be plural because the number of hour has changed. It has become. Okay. So here it is now 3 o'clock, and if you see, it has now been written as son las tres. So you can say the basic structure is this: son las, then you mention the hour. son las, then you mention that. So son las tres, cuatro, like that you will do. Okay. Now then comes the second stage. So in the second stage, if you see here now I have added minutes. So it is no more 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. It has now become here in this example 1:10. Okay, so you have hour, you have minutes. So in this type of time expression, the basic thing is going to be same for half of the part. So here if you see the number of hours is still 1. So what we have seen earlier for 1 o'clock, that will obviously be used. Along with that, you have to mention the minutes. So let us see that. Okay, so what more you have to write? So for 1 hour, means for 1 o'clock, we are again using es la una. After that, the minutes are 10. So you have to use this conjunction E, which is and. Okay. And then we mention that in es la una, it is 20, you will use es la una again. Similarly, if you are changing the number of hours, now if you are saying it is 220, then this whole thing will now become plural, and you will start it with son las dos y, let's say 20, if it is 220. Okay, so you see here this one. Okay, show you that example also. So to express minutes, after the R, we simply add E and the number of minutes. Here it is a special case. So if you see, it is 3:15. 15 is the minute. So in a general situation for 15, the word which we use in Spanish is quince, isn't it? Like once, doce, trece, catorce, quince. Quince is 15. But when you are using this 15 in time, then you should not be using the exact word or the one which is given there. So for 15, what do we use is, actually 15 is how much of an hour? 1/4 of an hour, isn't it? A quarter, you can say. So for 15, in Spanish, they generally use the word quarter. It is cuarto. So the rest of the things are going to be same. I mean, if it is 3 o'clock, you should be writing son las tres. After that, you have to mention the minute, which is 15. For 15, we have this cuarto. So the expression will be like this: son las tres y cuarto. Okay. The reason is given here that cuarto is a masculine noun that means quarter of an hour. So you should always use, if it is 3:15, you are using son las tres y cuarto. If it is 4:15, then you make it son las cuatro y cuarto. Now there is a difference. So 4 is, okay, 4 is cuatro, and 1/4 is cuarto. Very small, minute difference. And that is where many of you will be get trapped in the exam also. So 4 is cuatro, where T and R is like this, and 1/4 is cuarto, where R and T come. Okay, so if it is 4:15, you have to use this. If it is 5:15, son las cinco y cuarto. Like that, you can just continue using without any problem. Then comes this another special case where it is the time is 4:30. So what has happened with 15? Something similar will happen with this 30 also. So in terms of hour, 30 is how much? It is half of an hour. Okay. So half of an hour, that's why. So for the minutes part, I will be using the word half in Spanish. Okay. So for this part 4, you can simply say son las cuatro, then y, and then the word half in Spanish. So let us see what is it. So son las cuatro y media. So media is the word for half in Spanish, whenever the minutes are going to be 30. So if it is 4:30, it is son las 4:30. If it is 5:30, son las 5:30. If it is 10:30, say son las 10:30. So like that you can continue. Okay. The explanation is given. Medio is an adjective that means half. It is used in feminine singular when telling time. Since it modifies the unexpressed noun ora, we are using media. Okay, we are not using media. Why media? Because media is here basically referring to the noun. So or is feminine, so that is the reason we are using feminine. Okay. Now then the next situation here.
Sir, can you again explain the half part? The medio, why medio, not why media, not medio?
Yeah, because I told you 30 is how much? Half of an hour. Hour in Spanish is hora. Okay, sorry, hora. Hora is which type of noun? Feminine noun. Okay, so the word for half in Spanish is basically medio. Okay, but here this medio is referring to this particular hour, which is feminine. So that is why this adjective will become media. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I also have a doubt. Sir, Quarto is also masculine, right?
Yeah, cuarto is masculine, but there it is not used with the hour. Okay, it is just used uh, as quarter. It is not exactly referring to what do you say? Um, and it is basically a noun. Okay, so this is the
Can
only
we
word.
use quarta?
No,
Like,
you cannot use quarto because that word does not exist. Okay, that is the reason we are using cuarto. But here we are using media as an adjective. Okay, so you can see son las cuatro y media hora. If you think it is complete, it should be like media hora. Okay, so the reason we are not mentioning here hora is that it is unnecessary to mention there. We are just keeping it till media. But here cuarto is a noun which does not have any other gender as such. So that is why we are using cuarto only, not cuarta. Okay, that is why the reason. In this one, if you see, things are changing now. So this is how much? This is 5:40. So it's a completely new situation in this particular case, let me tell you how. Some of you might be thinking how it is a different. You are again using some minutes. So I can simply say 5:40 in Spanish also, not son las 5:40. But it does not happen like that. So what happens in Spanish when minutes are more than 30? Okay, then what we do is we count the next hour. Okay, so if even in English also, one way to say this is simply 5:40. The other way to say the same time is that it is 20 minutes to 6 or 20 minutes left to 6. Isn't it? We sometimes use that type of expression also. So in Spanish, actually, they generally use the second expression which I told you in English. I mean, they count basically the next hour, and while counting the next hour, they mention the number of minutes that are left to complete the next hour. So altogether, there will be a different type of expression coming here. So in the first part, they will mention the hour, next hour. So that mentioning hour is going to be similar like what we have seen earlier. So 5:40 means next hour will be like 6. So it will be son las 6. Okay, that is what we will use. After that, you cannot use E. So E means add. That means you are going to add something into 6. Okay. Basically, what do you want to say is that there are 20 minutes left to 6. So we use this word menos. So menos is less. Okay, or you can say minus. So you mention menos and then you mention the number of minutes to complete the next hour. So here it is, in this case it is 20. So that is why we are using 20. Okay. So never use E. Okay, when it is the number of minutes are more than 30. Because if you say son las 6:20, it becomes 6:20. Okay, so what you have to say or what you want to say is 5:40. So you should be using minutes. There you go. Okay, always. This is something which is always. So the explanation which is given is something similar, that after halfway point of a given hour, Spanish gives us the option of stating the next hour minus number of minutes. Now this one which I have told you, this is what it is being used in Spain and some of the South American countries. Okay, but if you search on internet somewhere, you may find that they are simply using 540 as 540. Okay, that is mostly happening in US, so I'm not focusing about that. Okay, so let us talk about the one which is being followed in Spain. Okay, this is another example of a similar case. So here it is 8:55. Okay, so in this one, the next hour is 9. Okay, so I will start my sentence with 9, which will be son las 9, and then I will mention menos, and then I will mention the number of minutes, which is 5. Okay, so this is how you should be doing. This is the next, again, not very complicated situation. This is something which we have already done. So it is 7 o'clock, but there is a small thing which you are adding here, like, or you can add, or you may find, or you may need to add, that is en punto. So en punto is something which is sometimes used if you want to literally express on the dot. Like you just don't want to say, or if the person is not saying simply 7 o'clock, wants to give a little bit emphasis and he wants to say it is 7 on the dot or 7 exactly 7. So when those type of situations are coming, you should use en punto. Simply put this word en punto. Okay. So what does it mean? That express that exact hour is being expressed with no minutes before or after. Okay. So this
So
is
one
one.
small doubt.
Yeah.
For the Menos one, like for exactly 30, can we do it both ways? Like if it's
No.
6:30, can we do it as 30 minutes to 7?
At the very beginning, I told when the minutes are more than 30.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Never use it from 30. Okay. So till 30, use same hour. Okay. After 30 only, you use next hour. There should
Sir,
not
for
be.
sir, for 7:45, do we use cuatro?
What?
Unos cuatro. Yeah, cuatro.
Quarto.
Cuarto, sorry, cuarto.
Yeah, we can use that. I will show you that in the subsequent slide. Okay. So, yes, for others, let me tell you, like if it is 10:45. So here number of minutes complete the next hour is 15. So there also for 15, you should not be using 15. Okay. What you should be using is what? Okay. I will show you the example in the subsequent slide. It will come. So there you can understand. Okay. Now this is where what time it is. It is 12 a.m. Okay, but we have not come to that AM part. So I'm trying to express this without using the AM expression. Okay. So if you see this time with this image also, it is clear that it is 12 midnight. So one way to say this is that son las 12. Okay, 12 is 12. And then in bracket, we are using la. This is again optional. If you want, you can use or not, you can leave it. But after that, this is compulsory. Medianoche. Okay, medianoche is midnight. Okay, so you can use this expression. You have to be careful. Here it is medianoche, not medio noche or anything else. We are using media here because noche is feminine. Okay, because when you will go to the next slide, you will find a change here of the word media. There is another way to say this, which is you just mention that it is midnight. People will understand that we are talking about 12 midnight. Okay, so then in that case, you don't need to use son las 12. Okay, there is no need to mention those number of hours. So you simply say es la medianoche. It is midnight. Okay. So here we are using the plural. Here we are just using singular. So es la medianoche, and we are using the article la here, which is compulsory. So these are the two ways. So there is going to be third also, which I will show you later. Explain you later. Here it is 12 midday. Okay, so like in the previous one I showed you, here also you have for two ways. First one is you mention the hour, then in bracket you mention L. Okay, and then here we are using mediodía. Earlier it was medianoche. So why medianoche? Why? It was media because noche was feminine. Here dia is actually a masculine noun. It's an exception. So that is why we are changing media to medio. Okay. So this is what you have to keep in mind while using this particular expression. The other way to say this is using the same means like without mentioning the hour part, simply mentioning that it is midday. So you start with S, then obviously this will be L, then it will be A. Okay. So you can use either of these two. Third one I will tell you later. Then comes the third stage, which is about AM. Okay. So when we now we will yeah. So when we talk of AM, okay, uh, in English we are just using AM and PM, but there is a complete expression for AM and there is a complete expression for PM. But in Spanish there is nothing like that. Means there is no abbreviated form. You have to actually use the complete expression for telling AM or for using PM. Okay. So the first one. So here if you see the time is 1:25 AM. Okay. So what do we use for AM? Let us see. The first part, which is just 1:25, all of you already know that. I have discussed it previously. So hour is 1, so it is extra 1. Then number of minutes are 25, so you will use E25. Now for the AM part, the expression is de la madrugada. Okay. De la madrugada. Okay. So there is a reason why we are using all this. So let us see that. Notice that in Spanish we say of the morning rather than in the morning. Okay, so I already told you though day is of, also from, but in this case we are just using of, not from. So again it is all about a habit in that particular language. Okay, so do not compare it always with other languages here in English. So that is what is written here. That in English you generally say in the morning, but in Spanish they have this of the morning. Okay, so never change de with en la madrugada. No, that will do correct. Always use de la madrugada. And when do we use de la madrugada? That is also you have to know. So de la madrugada is used instead of de la mañana. So actually there are two expressions in Spanish for AM. One is de la madrugada and another is de la mañana. There are two expressions. So de la madrugada is used for the very early or wee hours of the morning. So what is very early and wee hours? So starting from 1 a.m. and till you can say 4:59 a.m. If you are expressing any time and you have a.m. in it, then it is better to use de la madrugada. Okay, de la madrugada. After that, you can simply use de la mañana. So from 5 a.m. to 11:59 a.m. you have to use this de la mañana. Okay. So as I told, it is not going to be an abbreviated form, so you have to write out the whole thing, de la madrugada or de la mañana. So 5 a.m. as I told, things are going to change. So earlier we were using de la madrugada for AM. Now in this case it is de la mañana. So son las 5 de la mañana. Okay, son las 5 de la mañana. In this case, it is 5:15 a.m. So not so complicated. Things are changing gradually. So here also you can do it. So for 5:15 first, you will be using son las 5 y cuarto. Okay, and then for AM will be de la mañana. Okay. So this is how you have to use it. 6 AM, son las 6 y de la mañana. 7:30 AM, son las 11:30 de la mañana. Okay. This is how we are using it. Then we come to the next part, which is PM. So in English, basically, when we talk of PM, not this one. In English, when we talk of PM, it actually covers 3 duration of a day. I'm saying in English. Okay. So it covers afternoon. Okay. It covers evening. And it covers night time. For the afternoon and evening time, there is going to be one common expression in Spanish. And for night time, you are going to have a different expression. So altogether, you will have 4 expressions for AM and PM. So if the time is falling under any of these two, you should be using de, la, tarde. And if it is night time, you should be using de, la. So let me explain you more here. So this one is quite understood that 2 p.m. is an afternoon time. So simple. Son las 2 de la. Same reason here also, we do not use en la tarde to say in Spanish by using the preposition de, de la tarde. Tarde is used for afternoon and evening hours. Notice that again, we say half the afternoon. So don't use en la tarde. The other example, if you see here, it is 4:20 p.m. So this is afternoon or evening time, whatever you think. It is basically evening time. Actually, there is evening. Son las 4:20 de la tarde. That is one. After that is 6 p.m. So already an evening time. So son las 6 de la. So you can see here, tarde is used for afternoon as well as for the evening. Okay. Then comes the next one, which is the PM part. In that PM part, the night time. So what do we use for the night? Okay. As I told you, can use de la noche. That is the expression. So this one is 9 p.m. So it is son las 9 de la noche. Now here I have to give a little bit more information. So as I told you that for afternoon and evening time, we are using de la tarde. And then for the night time, de la noche. So between this tarde and noche, there should be a dividing line where you can start using this either de la noche, or before that you should be using de la tarde. So if you consider the Indian context, it is what we can think of is that 8 p.m. can be a good dividing line. So that is what even here it is written. I mean, from 8 p.m. onwards, you can start using de la noche. Because in India, basically, it is considered to be a night time, not say evening. That's very rare if you say it is evening onwards. So 8 p.m. can be a good dividing line. So any time before 8 p.m. you can use de la tarde. And if it is after 8 p.m., from 8 p.m. onwards, you can use de la noche. So this is happening in Indian context. But you cannot apply this same context when you are going to Spain. So this dividing line which I have given you, 8 p.m. cannot be applied there in Spain. The reason is that now the summer is going to come. So during summers, okay, during summer in Spain, it gets dark after 10:30. Okay, it gets completely dark after 10:30. So sunsets sometime happens at around 10:30. The 10 a.m., 10 p.m. is a very normal sunset time. Okay, so you can still see sun at 10 p.m. You will be able to see light, sunlight by 10, 10, 15, 10:30 also. So you should not be using then for 9 p.m. It is, I mean to say, you should not be using Vela Noche in that case. If you are there in Spain. I mean, in winter, this whole thing shifts around 1.5 hour, 1.5 hour. So again, not much changes are happening, but still, uh, the dividing line which I'm telling you is 8 here has to be changed if you are in Spain. So if it is 9 p.m., you should not be saying Son las 9 de la noche. Okay, it is better to use Son las 9 de la tarde. So if you happen to use this de la noche for 9, uh, people who are there in Spain, they may feel awkward a little bit. Okay, because they will say, oh, you can still see the sun. How can you say it is night time? So, so that is something you should be careful about. And if you're there, you can change this whole thing. Okay. Now there it is 10:45 with PM. So there are two things you are now going to see. One, that the number of minutes which are going to complete the next hour is 15, as I already told you earlier, but let me show you again. So next hour here for 10:45 is 11, so it is 11, and then menos, and for 15, as I told, we are going to use 1, which is quarter, and then obviously it is going to be the lunch. This is how we do. 8:30 p.m. So I'm considering the Indian context. It is son las 8:30 de la noche. Now, after giving you all this detail, okay, now let us have some practice. So I'm going to give you 6 time expressions which you have to write in Spanish. Okay, so first I'm giving you these 3 with AM, then I will give you next 3 with PM. So all of you can do this one right now. Good.
Sir, can you please tell the dividing line for Spain once again? Is it 10 p.m.?
How you can consider 10 as a dividing line?
Okay, sir. So this will vary from place to place, like depending on the sunset, it will vary from place to place.
But in Spain, there is no 2 time zone. They have only Central European time. No? So there it is going to be like that, only 10. But if you are,
Okay.
because apart from Spain, you don't have any other Spanish speaking country in Europe. No? So you cannot, you need not use so like this, I just said. But if you go to Latin America, you have to see there how it is happening.
Got it, sir.
Okay, so if these three are done, then I'm showing you the next three. They're all with again, three are there, but with PM. So let us start the discussion of the questions right now. So this one is 9:15 p.m. So we will start it with son las 9 y then you will mention cuarto de la noche. Okay. And this one is 4:50 p.m. So as you can see, the number of minutes are more than 30. You start using the next hour. I mean, the counting the next hour. So it will start with son las 5, then menos. And don't need to use e and menos to both. That is also not correct. Okay, only use menos. In how many minutes? 10 minutes. It will be diez de la. Okay. This one is understood. We have done that 12 p.m. So you have got different expressions. So son las 12. Now you have already learned about PM, so you can simply use son las 12 de la tarde. Okay. Or the one which I have given you, whether you can use son las 12, okay, and then el mediodía or SL mediodía. So you have got three options to choose from. Whichever you want, you can use. Okay, the one which you find very simple, you can use. With AM, now here you will see the the first two are basically early morning, okay, late night, early morning. This one is 3:30 a.m. So as I told, till 30 you count the next, sorry, same. So you will start it with son las 3:00 okay, media, okay, de la madrugada. Son las 3:30 de la madrugada. So the de la madrugada is what we are going to use because of this. Next one is 1:10 a.m. So hour is 1, so you have to change it with S now. Es la una y 10. And again, early, late night, early morning, so de la madrugada. Okay. Number 3, which is given here, is 11 on the dot. So you can see there is this expression given on the dot. So we have seen what is on the dot. In Spanish, it is en punto. So the complete expression will start like this. son las 11, okay, en punto de la mañana. The other way you can, what you can do, you can put this en punto after de la mañana. So that also you can do. That's fine, not a problem. So some of you have written it at the end after de la mañana. That is also okay. Now let me give you the form of attendance.
So if the on the dot expression is not given, then we can leave that
You
out.
you can just avoid it. That is not mentioned on the dot. You can simply keep it son las 11 de la mañana. Okay. Since it is mentioned there, that's why I am on. So all of you fill up the form. And give me the correct one. The options are very confusing. Okay, so take your time and give your answer. Correct answer. Okay. Any other question anybody has? Yeah, one more thing I have to tell you all. Today at 5 o'clock there is a meeting. This quality week event is going on. AIT. So today at 5 there is a you can say lecture basically for students, for you people. So if you are looking for higher education after BTech in Italy, then you can join that guest lecture in which the consulate people or the embassy people are going to come. Okay, basically not people, there is only one lady, she is going to come from Italian embassy. So she is going to talk about how you can uh, look for higher education in Italy. Now, when I'm saying Italy, it does not mean you need to have an Italian language knowledge, okay? Because in Italy, they have many universities where uh, different courses in English are also offered, and many of these universities are very reputed. So, all of you should think and come for this. Okay, let me share the link with you all. Link is there. I've just shared with you all. And in the time I'm just mentioning. Opportunities for quality higher education in Italy. So today is 24th. So from 5 p.m. to 6:30. So it is more of an interactive session. Okay. So the lady will just give you a brief idea, maybe in 30 minutes, 15 or 20 minutes. After that, it is going to be interactive. Like if you have questions, if you have queries, have something to know, like what all courses can be done, all these things about scholarships and other things. We come for this and take advantage. Okay, so 5 to 6:30 it is going to happen today. Please do come. Okay, so I don't think you have any other question related to today's class.